Alles is slaggereed vir die eerste skof op die eerste dag van die 228 km ultramarathon op die Bergrivier. Al die gunstelinge wat posisie inneem, Monteith, Vryling Viljoen en die wegspring wat verjaar so 'n bietjie anders lyk, hulle ma wegspring, want die rivier aan die bokant te gevaarlik waar die stroomversnellings is en die keerbal is en dit is 'n skouspel soos min. Meer as 100 nuwelinge wat verjaar kom deelneem het aan die gesogte marathon om te kyk of een van hulle dalk die gunstelinge kan uitoorlê nie. So lyk die eerste dag se roete. Begin in die Parel, daar word rustig geroei verby Wellington en die bykant 60 km dan onderdeur die Hermanbrug na die eindpunt waar daar vanaand groot vreugde en trane sal wees. Dit is Sonkwas Drif. In die sonskyn weer van die Parel is al weggespring, maar na sowat 5-6 km is dit die digte mis by die Lady Logbrug wat die roeiers ingewag het. Monteith, Mark Perrow, Nico Viljoen en die jongeling Rob Herreveld, net 17 jaar oud, die 4 Transvaalse musketiers kan my sê wat weggetrek het, gevolg deur 1983 se wenner Vryling Viljoen en saam met Vryling het ons vir Oscar Tjelupski, Henk Watermeyer en Frikkie Reinders. Mede-kommentator vanaand 'n man wat self geroei het, dit is Robert Clegg en 'n goeie wegspring vir die 4 Transvaalers.
Definitely, Monteith seems to be dominating the front bunch. Only 4 chaps in the front bunch, which is rather unusual. The ideal group, Graham looking very strong, Springbok, still hasn't a title to his name as far as the Berg goes, and still not a gold, unfortunately.
Die eerste hindernis by Skooltjie, die keerwal en Rob, dit lyk nie of daar veel probleme is vir die roeiers daar nie.
No, not too many problems. The group is a lot bigger than the front bunch. They have to jockey for positions, not to fall out.
En hier is dit Marinda Hartzenberg wat vir haar R1000 gaan losroei, 6 maal agtereenvolgens die Bergrivier Canoe marathon vroue titel gewen en uitstekende roeiwerk wat in 1985 ook dan 'n springbok geword het. Nou is ons by die Kleigat stroomversnellings.
Monteith still there. Nico Viljoen having a bit of problem with the turbulence. As you can see, the river is very full.
En dit is soos die Bergrivier lyk. Hy is lieflik in vloei. Skielik daar die stroomversnellings, dan weer die platwater en veral die binnelandse roeiers wat hou van hierdie gelykwater.
Here we have Olafboom with still Monteith dominating the front bunch. You can see the turbulence pushing the chaps around. You have to have fine boat handling in these conditions. Robbie Herreveld still up front. Very excellent paddling from a junior.
Die tweede bondel, Henk Watermeyer, Eysterman wat hulle inlei daar en nader trek na die eerste bondel toe Oscar Tjelupski verby. Hier is Stefan Hugo, die Bergrivier koning, 5 maal omgewen, gevolg deur Vryling Viljoen wat met 1 oorwinning spog. En dan is daar nog Lee McGregor, Neil Evans en Robert Clegg. Die digte misbank oor die Bergrivier wat nie die entoesiasme van die roeiers demp nie. Dit is die angstige oomblikke vir die vader van Rob Herreveld, sy 17-jarige seun wat hier roei en 17 jaar oud is dan in sy 3de Bergrivier, die eerste junior in 1988 en algeheel toe 13de geëindig. Nou tweede in daardie bondel. Mark Perrow wat voorloop, Monteith en Nico Viljoen wat afgeval het. Nico Viljoen wat teruggetree tot die stryd en nou voorroei. Pragtige diamantformasie.
This is quite incredible to see just 4 Transvaalers up front. Usually there'll be a province chap showing them the way. These guys have really done their homework and know where they're going. As you can see, it's difficult to tell with a full river which is the right route. They've set a hard pace and opened a good gap. To note the formation, Robbie Herreveld pulling hard, Nico coming up on the side to use the diamond to his full advantage.
Rob, jy lê die tweede bondel hier as dit ware nader. Julle is 2 minute agter. Wat gaan nou deur julle koppe?
We're working hard to catch the front bunch. We're about a minute and a half behind. We're working, the 3 of us together, Maynard Marais, last year's winner, and Herman Kotzer, along with Neil Evans hanging on behind. Stefan working hard as usual.
Nou net 3 manne wat voor is. Nico Viljoen, 24 jaar oud, in sy 10de bergrivier wat heel voorroei. Aan sy linkerkant is dit Rob Herreveld, die junior, en dan Grey Monteith in sy 13de bergrivier Canoe marathon aan die regterkant. Mark Perro wat so 'n bietjie teruggeskuif het. Dit is sy 4de bergrivier, miskien 'n bietjie vinnig begin, 23 jaar oud, en nou is dit die gangetjies wat genader word met Nico Viljoen wat kragtig roei. Die tweede bondel nou nagenoeg 2 minute agter, en rivierkennis lyk vir my as hulle hierdie waterstraatjies tussen die bome nader, Rob, is baie belangrik.
Yes, it's very important, river knowledge. Yet the Transvaalers are doing extremely well. To follow the mainstream, it's difficult to detect exactly where the mainstream is.
Grey Monteith wat baie graag hierdie bergrivier wil wen, wat nou voorroei van die Dubbelamansie klub. Hy het die beste gevaar in 1988 toe hy 6de geëindig het. Nico Viljoen wat nou weer die onvoltooide diamant hy op sy glystroom naaste aan die kamera is dit Grey Monteith, en die einde wat genader word, R1000 wat ook gewen gaan word, en dit is Nico Viljoen, die Springbok roeier van Transvaal, uitstekende roeiwerk. Grey Monteith in die tweede plek, en dan Rob Herreveld, baie tevrede kan hy voel met daardie uitmuntende derde plek. 'n Oorwinning vir Nico Viljoen, Grey Monteith, en die derde Transvaaler wat deurkom, die is die jongeling Rob Herreveld van die Universiteit van Witwatersrand. Die twee Weselike provinsiemanne, Meinhard Maree en Robert Klek, so 2 minute agter, en dit is natuurlik verlede jaar en voorverlede jaar se wenners. En Stefan Hugo in sy 16de bergrivier Canoe marathon ook nog in 'n baie gevaarlike aanvallende 9de plek. Môre is dit 43 km wat voorlê, en môre aand op Bridgetown sal die manne van die seuns geskei wees. Met die nuus dan dat Nico Viljoen vandag gewen het, is dit terug na die Topsport Ateljee in Johannesburg.
With me to commentate on today's racing from Sonko's-Drift to Bridgetown, 43 kilometers today, is Roelof van Riet, chairman of the Western Province Canoe Union, and the youngest man ever to win this race at the age of 20 years old. Roelof, just how tough is this second day?
Dis die kortste skof, maar een van die moeilikste, want hier word die wedvaart dikwels gewen of verloor vanweë die moeilike aard van die rivier self. So een fout hier kan 'n man die wedvaart kos. Ons het hier veral twee stryde, een die verwagte een tussen die Transvaal en die WP roeiers, en dan 'n ander een in die Transvaal kamp self, waar dit vroeg reeds duidelik was dat Grey Monteith en Mark Perro dubbel roeimaats saamwerk teen Nico Viljoen, met Herreveld ook aan Monteith se kant.
Here we have the hotspot at the Gouda Bridge, and up for grabs right now is R1,000, and it's a neck-and-neck sprint between junior Robbie Herreveld and defending champion Meinhard Maree.
Meinhard Maree natuurlijk SA 500 meter kampioen op sy dag, so baie spoed, maar opdraand van Robbie Herreveld daar.
Interesting to see that at this stage, Graham Monteith, who had fallen off the front pack after he'd taken the wrong channel, had been caught by the second pack. And we have in that group Neil Evans, just coming into the picture, Mark Perro, Robbie Clegg, and the dynamics of the race now really beginning to take shape.
Bietjie laer af, Graham Monteith, die agterstand uitgewis vir hom, baie belangrik. Op die maalwater, die glystroom, bietjie minder belangrik as normaalweg, maar hier's 'n ietwat platter stuk water, en daar sien ons die klassieke diamantformasie, soos die manne verbygeroei kom.
Graham Monteith then managed to catch the leading bunch with Robbie Herreveld on his right and Mark Perro on his left, indicating just how important tactical racing is.
Ja, daai 3 manne wat saamwerk is nou voor, en nou ja, hier kom 'n nou stukkie, en ons hier 'n goeie voorbeeld sien van hoe belangrik dit is om van vooraf te kan domineer. Normaalweg sou dit hier beter wees vir die manne om enkelgelid deur hierdie nou gaping te gaan, want die lang canoes draai maar moeilik as manne aan weerskante, en daar sien ons dit ook. 2 manne teen mekaar, so die Robbie Herreveld se canoe kan nie draai nie, maar die probleem, almal angstig, niemand bereid om daardie voet of 2 selfs net terug te val nie, baie angstig om saam met die manne te bly, en dit veroorsaak dan hierdie tipe van probleme.
Shortly after this, we had an incident where Nico Viljoen fell out of his boat and he lost valuable time and possibly the lead in today's race.
Ja, nou toe Graham Monteith natuurlijk agterkom, dat Nico probleme ondervind, toe maak hy die pas baie warm, soos ons hier kan sien. Die ander manne klou wat al werd is. Graham bly voor, veral omdat die goud by Veldrif nou ferm in sy gesigsveld is. Plat water op pad einde toe, weer eens nog steeds die diamantformasie met Clegg die eerste, of althans die enigste WP-roeier tussen die ander 3 Transvaalers.
The final flat water stretch now on the approach to Bridgetown, which will be a welcome sight for these canoeists. They look very easy at this stage, but ahead of them lies another hotspot sprint to the line and another 1,000 rand. Waiting on the banks for them, the spectators who've followed them from the very beginning, and the final sprint begins.
Ja, daar het ons vir interessant nog steeds saam met die voorste bondel van Robbie Herreveld, die sensasie van hierdie wedvaart, slegs 17 jaar oud, staan het 9 leerling, maar reeds 'n ervare roeier wat baie jonk begin het, en ja, nou reeds sy staal toon. Ons sien vir Mark Perrow regs voluit op pad na daardie R1000 en Robbie Herreveld links op die skerm wat soos vroeër teen Meinhard Maree probeer om hom te klop.
Mark Perrow did say last night that he'd been ill overnight and that he would have to give it a full go today, which he seems to be doing now.
Ja, hy lyk vir my besonder gesond op die oomblik. Ons sien die ander 2 manne, Graham Monteith en Robert Clegg, bietjie swaar kry, maar uit die aard van die saak, Graham Monteith is baie meer bekommerd oor die goue medalje en die wenner van die wedvaart as sulks, en nie soseer oor die skof uitslae nie.
And here comes Perrow then to the line, ahead of Monteith, Herreveld and Clegg, with Nico Viljoen at this stage nowhere to be seen.
Nico Viljoen moeg, maar ook baie teleurgesteld. Nou ja, ons sal moet sien, meer as halfte van die wedvaart is nog voor. Nico is 'n sterk roeier en die tyd sal leer wie die wedvaart gaan wen.
After finishing the race, Nico Viljoen did lodge an appeal, and Mark Perrow and Meinhard Maree held their own post-mortem.
We both made mistakes on being on the left and side of the boat. Yeah, we should have been on the right of these guys' boats.
Ons was 5 roeiers saam. Het was ek, Robbie Herreveld, Mark Perrow en Graham Monteith en Robert Clegg. En Robert wel die 4de teen my begin werk en dis maar taktiek, maar net onderkant die treinbrug het Mark Perrow my soort van in 'n boom ingedruk en ek het uit my boot uitgeval en ek gaan appeleer.
Overnight leader Nico Viljoen lodged an appeal against today's stage winner Mark Perrow, claiming he hadn't been left enough room on a certain stage of the river. This is how Viljoen saw the action.
He left no water for me to get through.
And at that point you actually fell out of your boat.
I got washed underneath the tree and that's why I fell out.
But there were sections where it was very narrow. We could see you actually lining up.
Yeah, that's true, but you know, you always consider the guy next to you and around you, so you always leave a little bit of water just for the guy to get through. This was actually very bad tactics.
An appeal hearing was given to the canoeists, and the outcome was that the appeal would not be upheld. Dave Walker speaks for the officials.
Look, you know, all the guys are trying as hard as they can to win the race, and there's a lot of team tactics going on, and there is no doubt that Nico was getting the rough end of the stick, you know, in regard to the fact that there were 3 guys working against him, but that's all fair and that's part of the game, you know.
Apart from the appeal, there was a very good spirit here in today's second stage. We spoke to a very tired and happy Mark Perrow at the finish of the stage.
I'm still 2.5 minutes off the pace, so we'll see what happens. But I was very tired at one stage, and the guys looked after me and put me on the diamond. So
Well, it looked like Graham Monteith did a lot of the work today.
no, he did a hang of a lot of the work. Just Nico was unfortunate. He took a swim going through one of the channels, so a bit of bad luck for him. But we worked him over.
Nico Viljoen's appeal was not successful, and he's dropped to 4th position overall. Graham Monteith is just out in front, 4 seconds ahead of Robbie Herreveld. And Robert Clegg is the only real threat from the Western Province, but anything can happen in the next 2 days. Note that the king of the Berg, Stefan Hugo, is looking good in 9th position, only 6 minutes off the pace, and he is traditionally tough on the long 3rd day, 69 kilometers of flat water paddling. We've had 2 days of glorious sunshine in the Boland, and here's hoping the good conditions prevail. We'll be back at 5:30 tomorrow evening, and so for the time being, we return you to the studio in Johannesburg.
Goeienaand en baie hartlik welkom hier op die walle van die Bergrivier. Soutkloof, die eindpunt, die oornagpunt voor die finale skof aangepak word, en daar is vandag die 3de skof van die 3de dag afgelê die langste een van die KWV Ultramarathon en ons sluit na 'n uur se roeiwerk aan. Al die gunstelinge wat steeds daar is as die eerste oordraaplek genader word, die voorlopers, die Transvaalers veral, Monteith, Herreveld, Viljoen wat gister so 'n ongelukkige dag beleef het en dan ook Perro wat baie hard werk. En dan is daar ook Meinhard Maree en Robert Klek, mede-kommentator. En Robert, as 'n mens na so 'n oordraaplek toe aankom, wat is die belangrikste ding wat die Karoo-vader in gedagte moet hou?
The most important thing is get your splash gulf before you get to the portage point, and then to watch your breathing. Keep your rhythm. It's very easy to lose your rhythm in running because it's a different form of exercise. As long as you keep that breathing going and a constant pace. The other thing is to watch your water bottle. It doesn't run out, because if you lose your juices, you're going to have a hard day.
R1000 deur Ceres vrugtesappe wat jy daar gewen het en jou vrou wat jy ook ondersteun het, Robbie Herreveld, die sensasie van die Bergrivier, 17 jaar oud saam met sy pa. En as 'n mens water toe gaan, dan moet jy seker so vinnig as moontlik weer al daardie dinge wat jy losgemaak het vaskry.
That's right. It's often a lot better to get in and put your splash cover on later, to get into the moving water so that you are flowing away from the guys.
Nou Meinhard Maree het baie vinnig weggekom daar, maar jy's in die moeilikheid.
Yes, some reeds are holding me back and holding the boat, so I couldn't get away.
En na daardie oordraapoging weer al die gunstelinge bymekaar. Die een wil die ander maar net nie 'n sentimeter ruimte gee nie. By die Moravia keerwal, en hier gebeur 'n interessante ding. Besluit 'n mens vooraf, Robert, na watter kant toe jy gaan?
Yes, you decide. Unfortunately, we weren't quite sure whether we were allowed to portage on the left or the right. And this caused a division in the groups.
Greiling Viljoen aan die oorkantste oewer voor, en dan sit byna Meinhard Maree en Mark Perro vas.
Mark Perro had his doubts when he saw the province guys going to the right and decided to hesitate for a while. I think that caused the clash. Yeah, Greiling Viljoen having a bit of difficulty getting out. You see the water is flowing over the bridge. It's not an easy place to get out, but he's making good way.
Greiling Viljoen, 1983 wenner van die Bergrivier, hy het al reeds die soetsmaak van oorwinning geproe. Meinhard Maree, verlede jaar se wenner, die is nog steeds daar, en die Bergrivier van 1989, die is nog glad nie gewen nie. Al die manne wat weer wil wen, hierdie gesogte ultramarathon, een van die strafstes ter wêreld, terwyl daar aan die diskantste wal nog gespook word vir 'n plek in die water.
Yes, the guys are getting away very quickly on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, they're having a bit of problems. They're going to possibly wait for the other chaps, except for Graham Monteith, who seems to be having a bit of difficulty.
Graham Monteith het hier so 2 minute verloor en agter geraak, en tog het hy teruggekom. Hoe is dit moontlik teen die noordweste wind in, Robert?
Oh, it's incredible. With the help of Stefan Hugo, the Berg River King, he managed to do it. It's almost impossible to catch a group like this with many chaps who can do the work.
En daar's die man wat gister in die moeilikheid was hier in die Bergrivier, appel aangeteken het, en daar hang hy dwars oor sy boot. Weer probleme vir Nico Viljoen, nie 'n gelukkige Bergrivier nie.
Yeah, Nick is having a problem. He has to try and get in the boat right here, because the banks you can't get to, because there's such thick bush that he can't get to the side to empty out his boat. That's why he's trying to get in, and he's succeeded as well.
Die 24-jarige Nico Viljoen in sy 10de Bergrivier Canoe marathon. Ja, hy gaan die gesogte 10 klub plakker op sy boot kry volgende jaar as hy weer kom deelneem, maar beslis nie 'n gelukkige marathon nie.
There he's emptying out, and sure be back with the front bunch if he can work hard enough.
Monteith wat dan terug is by die voorste bondel, Greiling Viljoen wat baie sterk roei, Robbie Herreveld, en daar agter Robert Klek wat ook nader skuif. Donnie Malherbe wat hom ook by die voorlopers kom voeg het, en dan interessant Nico Viljoen wat uitstekend teruggeveg het saam met Stefan Hugo, die manne van wie ons gepraat het, en in die agtergrond Meinhard Maree wat so 'n bietjie moeg raak.
Yeah, it looks a bit of a sad case for Maynard. It's still a long way to go to the finish.
Na bykans 5 uur se baie harde roeiwerk teen die noordweste wind in, is dit Donnie Malherbe wat spook om die voortou te behou. Aan die binnekant is dit Mark Perro wat deurkom van Weermag Noord-Transvaal, 23 jaar oud, in sy 4de Bergrivier Canoe marathon in 1985 tweede gekom, maar hier wen hy die 3de skof na Soutkloof, en hy's R1000 ryker wat hy kry van Drakensberg Wyne. Graham Monteith steeds die algehele voorloper, gevolg deur Rob Herreveld, net 7 sekondes wat hulle skei met Robert Clegg in 'n gevaarlike derde plek en die Bergrivier van 1989 nog nie gewen nie en daarmee is dit terug hier van Soutkloof na die Topsportatelier in Johannesburg.
Well, day 4 started cold and windy, and with the 17-year-old junior Robbie Herreveld facing that prospect of trying to make good that 5-minute time penalty. But way out in front now with a 2-minute lead, Graham Monteith.
I don't think the race is over by a long shot yet. The wind is blowing already. It could be like 2 years ago where we had a really terrible wind, and the strong men are going to come through. I had to work a lot harder than I would have liked to work yesterday, and I'm feeling it today. I'm a bit stiff.
Day 4 then, with the prospect of 56 kilometers of meandering flat water from Soutkloof to Veldrift. A full river in cold, windy conditions this morning, and it now just being a matter of finishing the 228 kilometers from Paarl. With us now, Robert Clegg, the man who battled to spearhead the Western Province attack on the Transvaal onslaught. A hectic sprint then, yet again from the start.
It's very important to get away quickly at the start. Here, Robbie Herreveld very fast, away first. And one's muscles are aching after 3 days of hard paddling, and now it's early in the morning, and you've got to get them into action again. Yeah, 45 minutes after the start, a narrow gap causes the chaps to jockey for positions.
Already that leading group has established itself into a dominant group.
Herman Kotze leading the front group. The front group has now established itself after about an hour's paddling and having the narrow gangetjies and palmet channels.
So important then to get into a diamond, let each member of the group work to the advantage of the others.
The front canoeist does all the hard work, setting the pace, and the others ride a formation of waves caused from his boat and therefore rest, not using as much energy, which is so important on a long day like today.
That saving, in fact, can be as much as 30% as we see the paddlers coming up towards Oordra at Kliphoek.
Yeah, here you can either go through the pipe or portage, and it seems to be portaging is a lot quicker. There is often a lot of confusion here, though.
Watching Nico Viljoen there, staying in his boat, while the junior Robert Herreveld gets straight to the bank to try and get that advantage and get out in front of those paddlers.
Yeah, one disadvantage about running is that you're changing your pace and your heartbeat and your breath rate, and this makes you very tired, so you've got to conserve yourself in your run. Another thing is putting on your splash cover, the decision either to put it on or leave it off. There are a lot of waves because of the wind today, and two of us took a chance of not putting them on, and we got away with it. Others waste time by putting your splash cover on. This could be critical seconds.
The idea being for Maynard Marais and yourself now in picture to try and get away from that group.
Yes, I'm lying second overall, and I want to get away from Graham Monteith, the race leader. And you see I've built up a decent gap to try and get a lead on him to get the overall win.
Interesting then that Oordra broke up the bunch of 8 into 2 groups of 4, and now the really hard paddling begins.
Yeah, I'm working up front with the other 2 Transvaalers on my wave and Maynard Marais. In the back group, Graham Monteith's got a whole crew of Transvaalers working for him.
The sight there then of Veldrift, and with less than a kilometer to go now, it's a sprint for the line.
As you can see, the chaps are very tight and pulling all the reserves out of his bag. Robbie Herreveld doing a fine sprint for the finish line.
Herreveld then winning that hot spot of 2,000 rand, being the first man over the line today. And now, of course, the big question is how far behind is Graham Monteith, who had a 2-minute lead at the start of this stage. And here he comes then, Graham Monteith, the first man in a long, long while never to win a stage in the 4 days, but his overall performance enough to earn him victory in this race. the time difference there, then a minute and a half over Nico Viljoen and Robert Clegg. Interesting that had Robert Herreveld not suffered that 5-minute penalty, he would in fact have won this race. But it's a very happy, relieved Graham Monteith winning his first Berg River Marathon, taking those laurels back to the Transvaal.
A little bit disappointed. Oh, otherwise, it was all right. I felt a bit tired towards the end.
There was talk yesterday and this morning that there was going to be a bit of aggro on the river among the Transvaalers. Was there any animosity?
No, not really. The guys paddled hard today, but it was clean.
You're pleased with your victory there?
Yeah, very pleased. I've waited a long time for this one.